invitation to give a talk, as we are very much aware of the guest speaker tight schedule, and allocating us with a slot of his time is an esteemed honor for us. This year, Bangladesh has announced as OIC Youth Capital 2020, marking a significant recognition for the leadership of Prime Minister, Her Excellency Sheikh Hasina, and her spirited government in the youth sector. The Dhaka OIC Youth Capital was inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister of the People's Republic of Bangladesh in a virtual inaugural ceremony on this 27th July 2020. The success of the inaugural ceremony also featured the organization of a youth summit which focused on Resilient Youth Leadership Summit, as well as the humanitarian boot camp focusing on Rohingya refugee crisis, which gathered 200 participants from 75 countries on the same inaugural virtual platform. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Taha Ayhan, the President of Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum, ICYF, for his opening remarks.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we're here again with our next ICYF special edition talk, and our very special guest here today with us, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, His Excellency Dr. Abdul Momen Bey. As you are all aware, we are going through a difficult period, and I believe that if we all do our best, we will get through this process in the healthiest way and the soonest way possible. And the topic of today is about the post-COVID situation, future we want. And dear ladies and gentlemen, for this topic, we have the most specialist person in the world, Alhamdulillah, with us now. I'm extremely honored by his presence, and His Excellency Minister of Foreign Affairs of People's Republic of Bangladesh, Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen Bey, has a quite accomplished and illustrated career, serving the UN system as acting president of UNGA and president of UNICEF and vice president of ECOSOC are just a few of them. And he's also a very fabulous academician. He had taught economics and business at University of Massachusetts and Harvard University, and in MIT, in Cambridge College, and at other respectable universities. Espousing the ideology of the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, Dr. Momen Bey adheres to the foreign policy envisioned by Bangabandhu, the cardinal principle of friendship to all and malice towards none, which is needed by the whole world now. Dear Excellency, I want to express my thanks and gratitude for your efforts on supporting the ICYF, especially during this Dhaka OIC Youth Capital 2020. And I want to express my thanks, profound thanks, in behalf of youth of the 56 countries to Your Excellency, to Her Excellency of Sheikh Hasina Hanım, and to the People's Republic of Bangladesh and Brotherhood Nation of Bangladesh. And thank you very much, and Dear Excellency, floor is yours, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency, for your speech. Distinguished guests, the program for today is timed for an hour only due to our special guest professional engagement and constraints. His Excellency, the Minister, shall unveil his presentation for 30 minutes, and 20 minutes shall be reserved for the question and answer session between our guest speaker and fellow participants. Since this session is short, I would like to remind you to be specific and concise with your questions, since the session is taking place both on a virtual space and physically. I also have some housekeeping notes. Kindly switch your mobile phones to silent mode to avoid interruption. Before I give the floor to our honorable guest speaker, allow me to say a few things about His Excellency again. Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen has an accomplished and illustrated career. He served as Bangladesh Permanent Representative to the United Nations in New York in 2009 to 2015, where he served the UN system as acting president of UNGA, president of UNICEF, and vice president of ECOSOC, chairman of the Second Committee, chairman of Least Developed Countries, and chairman of Peace Building Commission. He worked as a consultant to the World Bank, UNDP, and Saudi Industrial Development Fund. His voluntary works for humanitarian causes earned him a global acclaim. Having completed graduate and postgraduate studies from Dhaka University, he completed MBA from Harvard University. He then taught economics and business at University of Massachusetts, Harvard University, MIT, Cambridge College, Merrimack College, Salem State University, and Northeastern University. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to kindly pass the floor to His Excellency Dr. Abdul Momen, Foreign Minister of Bangladesh.
I'm privileged to be here in this lovely city, Istanbul, the historic city. Here we don't come to speak, we come here to watch and observe the beauty of this historic city. But I'm very privileged today to speak to you, and I'm thankful to President Taha Ayhan. We met each other virtually when we inaugurated the YC Capital Bangladesh 2020, Dhaka YC Capital 2020. And I'm privileged here because I'm also, along with me, I have brought very distinguished diplomats here. My colleague, and who is also my namesake, Mr. For our Deputy Minister, Foreign Affairs, Masood bin Momen. And I'm also privileged to have our ambassador here, and Allama, you know Allama, he's a learned man, Siddiqui. I'm privileged to have our Director General, who looks after this, and our dynamic Consul General. You know him pretty well. And I have also my other colleagues from the ministry. So I'm very privileged to be here. But most important today, I am among the young people who are the future of the planet Earth. And I always enjoy, I'm a teacher. You see, a minister is only for a short time, it will go, but I basically have been a teacher for years. And I always find pleasure when I'm among students and young people, because they have innovations, they have the creativity, and they can really make the changes in the planet Earth. So I'm so, I'm thankful to the organizers for arranging such an event. Now I understand that I have to speak on the issue, as you said, is post-COVID dialogue, a future we want. It's a very interesting topic. This COVID has given us a lesson. And the lesson to me is the future is uncertain. And past is history. Present is a gift of God. So we must do best, to our best of ability in this present. And if we can perform our best in the present, we can, feel great and we can be successful. In English, there is a word, this past is history, future is in mystery, present is a gift of God. Make best use of it. So that's what we look for. Now, pandemic has taught us that stockpiles of weapons of mass destruction, of nuclear bombs, is not enough to save humanity, is not enough to save an individual's life. We have seen that many industrialized countries who had relatively pretty good system, and they are very powerful, yet they could not save human beings. And human being is the most important element in the planet Earth. We all are ashraful makhlukhat, the best of God's creations. So we should look forward that we should do things so that we can help out the humanity. Currently, if you look around, what is the situation? So many people have been uprooted from their homes. This last couple of years, maximum number of people have been uprooted from their homes, either due to violence or erratic climatic changes or wars. Look at whole of Middle East, Libya, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, even, this Myanmar. Everywhere people are uprooted from their homes, from their traditional jobs. And why this is happening? Is because to stop it, we need to do something. And young people can do it. We are all sons and daughters of God. You see, the sons and daughters of one son, Adam. I'm sorry. We are all sons and daughters of Adam. Maybe someone is a fair complexion. God loves variety, so we have different types of complexions but we are all sons and daughters of Adam and Eve. If we remember it, then we should stop fighting each other. And this pandemic taught us that, fighting is not enough. If you want to save humanity, which is the best resource in the world, then we have to work in such a way so that we can help humanity, the human beings. Why we have so much of war and tension and terror is because we have created a mindset which ignores the concept of humanity. I come from Bangladesh, one of the countries which promoted the concept of humanity. Even before the concept of humanity came to Europe during the Renaissance. It came in Europe in the 17th century. It came to US, which was discovered in 1492. You see, prior to that, in 1408, in Bengal, we had a campaign, and in Bengali it says, Shabar upore manushotto taharup. Humanity is above all. And that's the concept we promoted in Bengal. So Bangladesh takes some privilege in promoting the concept of humanity. What I want to tell, the young people can, if they like it, if they adopt it, all these, fighting, violence is due to intolerance, due to disrespect towards others. So if we can inculcate a mindset of tolerance, a mindset of respect for others, in that case, irrespective of, a mindset of respect for others, irrespective of religion, ethnicity, color, or race, then we can hope to have a sustainable world of peace and stability. To create that mindset, the government alone cannot do it. To create that mindset, it is the academician, the parents, the leaders in the mosques, in the churches, in the mandirs, in the synagogue, they have to take the lead. To create that mindset, it is parents, the community leaders has to take the leadership. That they create a mindset of respect for others, irrespective of background, ethnicity, color, or religion. If you look around, there are so many in fighting. Fighting is because on the basis of religious reasons, or because of ethnicity. People are being discriminated because of their color. Look at in USA. You see, black matters. Why it is happening? It's happening because over the years, they have created a mindset of intolerance and disrespect towards the black people. And therefore, one community are being hated by others. This enmity towards one another is due to each other, is due to this, because we are losing the concept of respect for others. All human beings, God created them with similar things, God has given us, we are very lucky, we have 2 hands, we have 1 mouth, 2 eyes, and the brain. God has given all of whatever we need. Only thing, we have to inculcate a mindset of respect for the God's creation. If we do it, first is human being, second is the other creations of God. If we believe in it, then we cannot abuse the resources, abuse the environment. We will do things in such a way so that we don't abuse. And those of us who follow Islam, you see, it's a normal religion. It's a religion which, you see, if you follow it, you follow the rules of God. And there we must develop a sense of, respect for others. So my message to the young people, more so, to create a mindset of respect for others. And if you do it, and you can do it, You create, because if one takes the lead, then if it is a just cause, someone else will join you, and then another, and then another. And in the process, you can create a mighty wave that will, even destroy the mightiest tyranny. So I have a feeling that somebody has to take the lead to create a mindset of tolerance towards others. And if we do it, then, and here I need everybody's. And pandemic has taught us that weapons and other, these are not the strengths of a government. The strength is empowering people. If we can empower, we call it that we should spend money. Each year, we spend around $1.8 billion just for, the armaments, the defense. $1.8 trillion, $1,800 billion. If you count 1 billion, it takes 32 years to count 1 billion. Can you believe it? And we spend 1,800 billion as per IPRI of, their estimate that we spend 1,800 billion, $1.8 trillion just for weapons. Instead of that, it is time for us to think about humanity, and we should divert those resources for medical purpose, for human education, and also for attacking the climate change issues. If we can do it, we don't have to look around. Enough fund to manage things. So one slogan we will have, that we must ask varieties of governments to commit their resources for the well-being of humanity. Now, if we can, why we need this money? Because to achieve our goal of a sustainable world, peace and stability. And we will be facing many, emerging situations. This year we face COVID. Maybe something new and emerging situation will come, in future. And if there are bigger problems, we have to handle it. And only those people, they can handle it right. Those are empowered. Human beings that are empowered. If they are empowered, men and women, young girls and boys, if they are empowered, if they know, empowered with technology, empowered with education, empowered with experience, empowered with the feeling of confidence, they can handle any problem that comes in front of them. To empower a human being, we need to do certain things. We must provide. First one is, we must eliminate poverty, the extreme poverty. Because poverty is a disgrace. And if those people who are dispossessed, poor, they have no hope. They don't have any empowerment. And they, feel they are not a contributing member to society. So, first thing, we must eliminate poverty from the society. That's also one of the major goals of our sustainable development goals. So one is, we must eliminate poverty across the world. And if we do it, people will be literate. We must eliminate discrimination and deprivation. Discrimination due to religion, color, and all those background. If we do it, people will be empowered. We must educate them and also give them correct training. If we do, they will be empowered. We must give them all the modern technology that we have. If we provide them the technology, the knowledge on the technology, they know how to improve it and how to make use of it. So if we can also give them young people, those would be empowered. If we also provide them some, say in the governance, they will come up with innovative ways, creative ways. I personally believe it is the creativity, it is innovation, it is motivation, it is networking, it is responsibility, it is competition, it is competitiveness that helps individual to excel in life. And for a country, this country also, if there is competition, if there is motivation, the country can also excel in the world. So, to get that feeling, motivation, the innovation, we have to empower our human being. And if we can empower, and to do empowering, we need to spend money. Money in education, money in quality education, money in training, money in acquiring all the modern technology. You'll be happy to know in Bangladesh, we have two major resources. One is human being. We have plenty of people, 165 million, and majority of them young, youth. 70% of our people are young. So this is good news. You see, that because young people have fresh mind. They can adapt to good things, you see. So this is one. The other good thing we have is water, plenty of water. But these two great resources, the manpower and water, if we cannot manage them correctly, they could be our problem. So, and to manage them, we have to train them up. We have to train even the streamline, the oceans, the rivers, otherwise you will have flood and they will wash away your all resources. So there we have to spend some money to train them correctly. And in manpower, we have to educate them, train them, and create a sense of responsibility on them. Discipline. If we can do it, they would be great resource and they can change. I believe, look at this electric light. In this electric light, if you close down the switch, what you'll see? It will be dark. It will not emit any light, But when you put the electricity in it, it brightens the whole room. It lightens the whole earth. So human being is like that. God has given everything we need. Only we have to electrify the individual spirit, the individual potentials. If we can electrify spirit of an individual, he can achieve unthinkable things. So our approach should be, we should look for a new world where we will try varieties of ways to ignite the spirit in the human being, spirit of tolerance, spirit of respect for others, spirit of excelling in life. And that is possible. That is very much possible. And to do it, we have to create an environment so that the spirit, people can be really spirited. And if they do, things will be much better. We'll have a beautiful world. In the new, after the COVID, we'll face a lot of problems. We have seen in the COVID, technology has become very useful technique. Even today, when I'm speaking to you, some people are watching through technology. We do a lot of meetings. My colleague will say, of late we have been doing a lot of virtual meetings. The technology is taking over. And it will continue to grow, continue to take over. But there would be fear of cyber security. People will there are always bad guys, you see, and they will try to take the advantage. So young people have to be careful. They have to come up with innovative ways so that there is no misuse of this particular technology. And another thing this COVID has taught us, that we all have to work together. There is no alternative to it. You may be a rich country like USA, but you have a very track record, very poor. A country like USA, which is around 330 million people, total death is 194,000 due to COVID. Bangladesh has half of that population, and our death rate only is 4,700. Just imagine, half of us. Yeah, otherwise, it should be more than around 100,000, but we could maintain it to 4,700, in spite of the fact that our medical facilities, our nutrition intake, we have a lot of weakness in there. But anyway, so rich and poor does not matter. We all have to work together for the betterment of humanity. The COVID, post-COVID, one lesson, the future we want is we have to work together in cooperation, in collaboration, in partnership. If we do it, we can create a better future for all. Look, COVID gave a great, what should I say, it's a great opportunity. We had one opportunity in the late 80s when the Cold War was over. When Cold War was over, there was an euphoria of hopes. People thought people will not be spending too much money for defense, and those money could be committed or dedicated for the well-being of people. And therefore, immediately after the Cold War, there has been one after another big international, conferences and seminar. We started in 1992, the Art Summit in Rio de Janeiro. Then we had a big summit on population in Cairo, the big summit in population, in 1994. Then we have another big summit on women empowerment, the role of women in 1995 in Beijing. Then we had another one on the environment, the Kyoto Conference 1997. All those conferences had high hopes. But by the end of 2000, we had the Millennium Declaration. We identified certain goals for the whole world. Those are, every country took an oath that they will try to achieve those goals. So there was a lot of euphoria. Anyway, after 2000, many countries did very well. Many companies made more money than they ever can think of. Their profit margins skyrocketed at the cost of environment. Their profit margins skyrocketed at the cost of low wage to many of their laborers. So it created some sort of agonies and unpleasant. And also we did pretty good in the terms of we stockpiled so much of weapons at the cost of human life. And then there has been a lot of collateral damage across the world. So this euphoria that we had, that we will have a better future, unfortunately did not didn't result. So naturally in 2012, what we did, we had another big event, this 20th of Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro, and we discussed about what future we want. There's been a lot of debate. We debated for almost 3 years in the UN, and many millions of people participated in that debate. And what we did, we came up with a new approach. The UN took out 17 goals known as Sustainable Development Goals. Number one is to eliminate poverty. Number one is to eliminate poverty. But till today, it's a few years now, the progress is not much. It's because our mindset has not changed. If we change our mindset, only then we can, many of those objectives we could achieve, many of those goals it would be smoothened to achieve those goals. So young people like you should start a campaign for a creation of a mindset of respect for others. And if we do that, we can think of a sustainable world of peace for everybody. Now, I have here some issues which are very pertinent. That is, one is, I believe that young men have more creativity, they have dynamism, and therefore these people should be involved in the governance also, in the decision making. If they can come up with brighter ideas. But we have developed certain system in our, in our life. These are very stereotype, totally closed-knit. There is hardly any lateral entry. And these are creating, we promote the same thing again and again. We are lacking fresh ideas. Maybe it is time for us to have young people on the board so that they can come up with fresh ideas. Not the traditional idea, but the objective should be helping humanity. You see, empowering humanity. If we can empower them, they will know what to do. I don't have to tell what to do. If people are being empowered with education, with skill, with mindset, correct mindset, they would know what to do. I leave it to them. We must have that much faith. God has plenty of faith on us. God has given us, left us alone and said, I will help you if you help yourself. God helps those who help themselves. God has given us all the scope to think better. But unfortunately, at times we get blocked, we get arrested in the traditional way of thinking, and as a result, we cannot get out of this bondage. It is time for us to get out of bondage and think humanity as one, irrespective. Whole planet is for the human beings. Nowadays, after the war, Second World War, we started creating passports. We started creating visa. We started creating so many new rules. And in the process, we have divided the whole nations, the nation of humanity. Maybe it is time to think we as one planet, members of one planet. We have only one planet. We don't have any other. Well, I don't know, not to my knowledge, that people lives in another planet, not to my knowledge. So we must save this planet. In the area of abusing the planet, what we did, Some countries, they have been misusing, abusing the resources. As a result, nowadays we are worried of a erratic climatic change. Country like Bangladesh, for example, we are told that if there is 1 meter sea rise, then in that case, 1/4 our country will go underwater, which means around 30 million people will be uprooted from their homes. Already a process has started. Nowadays we get more and more river erosion, and those people are uprooted from their homes. You see, we are a very vulnerable country. There are many other countries. Kiribati, with 100,000 of them, could go underwater. Samoa, with few thousand, they could go underwater. But if they go, I always tell my friends from Maldives that if you go underwater, don't worry, because Maldives is around 400,000 people. Out of them, these 100,000 from us, from Bangladesh, working there. And another 25,000 is the wives of Bangladeshi expatriates. So if there is a disaster, these 100,000 of Bangladeshi, they can come back to their home with their spouses. So around 150,000 will come back. The rest have to find out a space to live. But the issue is why this should happen. This should not happen. Before it happens, God has given us enough in intelligence to stop it. We must stop the process of global warming, and we have to do it now. It is time. What has happened in the past, forget it. What we can do today, this is most important. And we all have to pick up a campaign. In the OIC capital, we had one campaign, was the climate change. We have to. This is only one planet, and there is a planetary emergency. If we don't save this, it would be worse than the COVID. COVID is bad, but if the cities and towns goes under, let's say Istanbul goes under water, what will you do? Millions of people will be out of home. And then it is very difficult to, before it happens, we have to take a vow to save this planet, because there cannot be a plan B. There is only one planet. There is no second planet. So therefore, we all have to work together with earnestness, eagerness, with sincerity, and think one planet as the home of all human beings. If the planet is saved, then we will be saved. So, and to get the sense of idea, it requires young mind. Young people can achieve it. We are fossilized, gone our day. But it is young people, you can do it. If you are committed, no matter, the hurdles will go away. Once you start the program of creating a mindset of respect and tolerance towards others, irrespective of where you belong, irrespective of color, religion, ethnicity, I have a hope we can achieve a sustainable world of peace and stability. And I look forward to that. That's the future we want. We want a future which is a world where there is peace and stability. And that you can achieve. I have no doubt. Only thing you need a sense of confidence. You need a sense of responsibility. If you say, I can do, God will help you. And if you say, I can do, then definitely we all can do together, and we can achieve the goals. I wish you good luck, and if you have questions, I'm open. I thought I have a big lecture, but instead of that, I thought I better talk.
Thank you, His Excellency. Your words about the future is uncertain, the past is history, and the present is a gift from God. So we should do our best in every step of the way. It really caught my attention. Distinguished guests, we shall move on to the question and answer session. I've received some questions, and due to time constraint, we will only read 4 questions that we have gathered, and we will start with the first 2, and His Excellency will respond, and we'll continue with another 2. So the first question comes from Indonesia. Mr. Mirza asks, what steps should the international community take to find an effective solution for what happened in Rohingya? What is the role of international cooperation and dialogue? And how does the People's Republic of Bangladesh behave in the Rohingya crisis? And another one from Nigeria, Yusuf from Nigeria. How do you evaluate the developments in the Islamic world? What are your suggestions for increasing cooperation and dialogue among Muslim countries? How do you evaluate the developments in the Islamic world? What are your suggestions for increasing cooperation and dialogue among Muslim countries? Floor is yours. Yes.
First question is from Indonesia, and I welcome it. And he was asking about the issue of Rohingya. You see, Rohingya is an ethnic group, and they have been living in Myanmar, original Burma, for centuries. Even the first Burmese constitution were drafted by one of the Rohingya leaders. They used to be in the cabinet, 4 members from in the past. Rohingya people used to be in the Burmese cabinet, and they were members of parliament. But later on, it is a very sad thing, because there was a campaign against this ethnic group, the Rohingya. They are not Bengali. Many of them came from varieties of areas, Yemen, Middle East, so many places, some from Bengal and mixed up. At one time, Rohingya, this was a big kingdom. And even the last Nawab of Mughal, the emperor of Mughal, took shelter when the British was chasing him. He took shelter in the Arakan kingdom, which is the Rohingya area. So they have been there for centuries. But after Burma was created, they started this systematic way of eliminating this ethnic group. In Myanmar, there are a number of ethnic groups. Almost recognized ethnic groups is 135 different types of ethnic groups. But Rohingya, they did not recognize. They are mostly Muslims. So the Myanmar, this Buddhist kingdom, did not recognize these Rohingya people. And they started kicking them out. And they defranchised them. Initially, in 1982, they made a new law by which they became stateless. They defranchised them. And they started pushing them away from their own land, which is Rakhine state. And in 1978, when a newborn Bangladesh came, the Myanmar government, the Burmese government, started to push to Bangladesh. Then later on, some went back. In 1992, around 253,000 Rohingya were pushed, who were being persecuted, had to take shelter in Bangladesh. And later on, they took back most of them. They took back around 230,000 of them, living around less than 30,000. Now in 2016, they started persecuting the Rohingyas. Right now, as we talk, they have again started persecuting the Rakhine ethnic group, and they may be uprooted from their homes. So in 2016, around 840,000 Rohingya, they came to the Bangladesh. And our Prime Minister, given her heart for humanity, you see, in Bangladesh, we have a perception of humanity. So she was generous. She allowed temporary shelter to these Rohingya people from persecution. So since then, for this almost 3 years, they've been staying here. We provided some plot of land. We have some hilly areas, forest area, meant for our elephant grazing. We allowed that place for sheltering, temporary shelter for the Rohingya people. And all the countries, including Turkey, they have been very supportive of us. Turkey set up a hospital there, and it has been doing very, very good. So most of the countries of the world, they came forward and helped assisting us to take care of this humanitarian disaster. If Bangladesh would not have taken them, then it would have been worse than the Ashwais, the worst, this humanitarian disaster. By taking them, Sheikh Hasina, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, has saved the face of the planet, the world leaders, because everybody would be ashamed of their conduct. But by giving them the shelter, she has saved the face of the global leaders. But we got into trouble. We are not a rich country, and we have we are one of the most densely populated country in the world. And here we have this additional, now 1.1 million of them are in 34 camps. Myanmar is not our enemy. Our foreign policy is friendship to all, malice to none. Until today, this is what we follow, and followed very seriously. So Myanmar is our neighbor, and we want to resolve this issue as a neighborly relationship. And since our principle is not to fight, we agreed, and Myanmar also agreed that they will take back their people after verification. We asked Myanmar government, you must give them safety and security. Myanmar government agreed to give them safety and security. Myanmar government also agreed they will create conducive environment for their voluntary and safe return. Myanmar government agreed to it. We signed 3 agreements with Myanmar. And each case, they said they will take them back. Unfortunately, not a single one has gone back. One reason no one has gone back is because the people who are here, the displaced people, they don't trust their government. There is a trust deficit between the displaced Myanmar, Rohingya, and the government of Myanmar. They don't trust each other. So in order to build up confidence level, trust, reduce the trust deficit, we made a number of proposals to Myanmar. One proposal is, we said, let's create this, allow some civilian, non-military observers in the Rakhine province. And they could be your friends, Myanmar's friends. They could be Russia, there could be China, there could be ASEAN, there could be India, and these countries, civilian representatives from these could be there. Then they are their friends. You pick up your friends. Only thing, those displaced people should have some assurance that if they go back, there are someone else is observing them. In the process, there's trust deficit reduced. Myanmar did not answer to it. We also made another proposal. Okay, allow the leaders of these, Rohingya people to go and visit and give a story to their families so that they feel little comfortable to them. Myanmar did not answer to it. Myanmar don't answers anything. Instead of that, in spite of creating a conducive environment, they have let loose a genocide, uprooting, ethnic cleansing in the Rakhine and the Chin state. Right now, there is bombing ongoing, there is shelling ongoing in the Rakhine and Chin states. It's in a bad shape. So, what we should do? Now, Rohingya is not Bangladesh problem. It's a problem of global leadership. Every country is responsible for their return to their own country and to have good living. It is, all sensible countries must do that. They must put pressure on Myanmar so that the promise they made, so that they take them back. And unless there is pressure, economic, political pressure, Myanmar may not take them. Unfortunately, story is very sad. Many countries who are the leaders of the human rights, there has been near genocide in Myanmar. There, as per the UN, there has been classic example of ethnic cleansing in Myanmar. But those leaders, those countries, they do business as usual with Myanmar. They are investing, their trade, their investment in Myanmar has shoot up 3 to 15 times in Myanmar during this period. So as a result, Myanmar has no interest, sincerity. There is lack of sincerity on the part of Myanmar to resolve this issue. This problem was created by Myanmar. Solution also lies with Myanmar. Unfortunately, since nobody is putting much pressure on them, they ignore everyone. So the solution of this, we tried bilateral, we tried all different types of arrangement bilaterally, we tried trilaterally, we allowed all the multilaterally, we engaged UN, we engaged many countries, we did whatever is possible in our capacity to resolve this issue peacefully. And also our friendly country, Gambia, a member of OIC, they take this case of genocide to the International Court of Justice. So this is what has happened, and they have given a very good verdict, a provisional verdict. But Myanmar is ignoring that provisional. Myanmar don't bother about anyone. So maybe we have to create a public awareness against the ill treatment of these Rohingya people, and to stop the venom of spread of hatred against the Rohingya people. And young people like you, through your new empowered technology, the social media, through your internet, you can create a public opinion across even inside Myanmar. There must be many good people in Myanmar also. And if you start the campaign, those people will join you. And as I believe, once you stand for justice, good cause, others will join you, and in the process, that the worst tyranny will be wiped out. So I would ask you to resolve this issue. We are doing whatever we can, but at the same time, I would urge you to come forward and start a campaign, social media campaign, for helping these persecuted people. They deserve better. There are thousands of young kids, they cannot go to school. I feel pain that they should be contributing members to the society. Bangladesh believes that in the process of development, no one should be left behind. Unfortunately, such a large number of people are being deprived of their role in contributing to the growth of the world, growth of their own society. So it is time for all of us to take leadership role so that they go back and the morality comes back in Myanmar, and they do the justice to them. I'm sorry I took too long. The other question was about the Islamic dialogue, right? Yes. I think it is very important that we should, because Islam is being perceived by many in very different way, and the true Islam is somehow missing. You see, in many of the Muslim countries, Muslim majority countries, the spirit of Islam is missing. Instead of that, some of us have adopted to certain rituals. Rituals is overtaking the spirit of Islam. So therefore, we need a serious dialogue in all the Islamic countries, lot of workshops, lot of seminars on the spirit of Islam, the essence of Islam. Sometimes we forget about it. We forget, look at, in 614, when Rasulullah was in Medina. He was the leader in Medina. And there are pagans, there are other Jews, there are Christians, Rasulullah didn't have to listen to any of other sect. But instead of that, he protected the rights of the other people through his Medina Charter. He created, just think of, so generous he was. He didn't want to bother the other, the communities. Pagan, we go against the pagan. But he said, all people, residents of Medina, are the citizens of Medina, and they are allowed to perform their own rituals. Can you believe it? Nowadays, in some Islamic countries, we don't allow others to do things. So if we follow Rasulullah, and the spirit of Rasulullah, we'll be different people. So I think Islamic dialogue is essential, and you young people can do it because you have fresh mind and you have open mind, so you can do it. But the issue is you must study Islam. You must study Quran. You must study, and when you study the hadith, you should also study the circumstances when this was being adopted. Because these are very essential. You have to know you should not know only the tree, you should know the bush. And I would urge you to do that. And therefore, Islamic dialogue will be encouraged. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Check. Thank you so much, His Excellency. Before I continue, I would just like to mention that there are hundreds of participants from different countries of the OIC are watching you live on our social media. On behalf of them, I would like to convey their sincere appreciation and gratitude for your insightful and fruitful discussion and your talk. And we shall move on to the next question. What is Bangladesh's position within the OIC in the fight against Islamophobia and extremism in the 21st century? This question is from Hala from Qatar. And the last one from Meriam from Bosnia. It is known that your government is very much engaged and active in peacekeeping missions within the UN institutions. Do you think the OIC should establish a peacekeeping apparatus in order to help promote peace in the restive regions of OIC geography? Exactly. It's the same one.
Question is on peacekeeping. Yes, you are right. You see, our constitution, mandates us involving in peacekeeping under the UN Charter. Whenever UN asks us, we send our young men and women for peacekeeping. We are very lucky that we could participate in the peacekeeping in most of the post-conflict countries. We have been engaged in out of 69 peacekeeping operations of the UN. I think we were engaged in over 56 peacekeeping missions in 40 countries. And around 163,000 peacekeepers of Bangladesh, both men and women, participate in the peacekeeping. However, in the process, we had to have some supreme sacrifice of many of our men and women. But we feel good. We are engaged in peacekeeping. We have become a brand name of UN peacekeepers. Currently, we are #1 in the UN peacekeeping. I had the privilege that during my time, we engaged female peacekeepers in the UN peacekeeping operation. We engaged also, we did many things which are, I should say, was very beneficial to our people. Now, and our female peacekeepers did an excellent job. They have a very good heart to help others. And they earn a great name in Haiti, for example, when they are being deported there and after the earthquake. And they served them so well that even if you go to Haiti today and ask anyone, they will, very proudly they will say, Bangladeshi peacekeepers. Even though anybody is from Sierra Leone, you see, we were in Sierra Leone, and they loved us so much. They made they made our national language as one of their state languages in Sierra Leone. So our people they are very professional, highly professional, and they have one commitment. The commitment is to help those, people. And in the process, we earn a good name. Bangladesh, why we do it? Bangladesh, the father of our nation who created Bangladesh. Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib. This year we are observing his 100th anniversary, birth anniversary. He has a philosophy. He has a philosophy that Bangladesh would be an island of peace and stability for the whole world. We will emit lights of peace across the nations. That was his vision. He wanted to be during his time, he wanted Bangladesh to be a Switzerland of the East, because Switzerland was a partisan government. So Bangabandhu, our father of the nation, he wanted that Bangladesh should emit peace across the nation, and we should have a nuclear-free zone in Asia. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but following his dictates that we must help others, because he said, let me tell you, who is Sheikh Mujib, the father of the nation. We had a very happy marriage. We had a marriage with Pakistan. In 1947, India was divided into two countries. One was Pakistan, another is India. Pakistan composed of Muslim majority areas. Pakistan was divided by two wings, East Pakistan and West Pakistan. East Pakistan was there apart from each other by almost 1,000 miles. Two wings. The only bond was Islam. Because of Islam, they get together as one country, Pakistan. But after Pakistan was created, the Pakistani government, mostly ruled by people from West Pakistan, Punjab particularly, they exploited the people of East Pakistan, economically, politically, socially, culturally. And on those days, this Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib, young man, he was a young man. He stood up against it. He didn't like this exploitation. And he steadily continued to, fight for the cause of Bengali nation, the rights of Bengali. Because they are majority people who are from East Pakistan, 56%. Pakistan government declared one language, Urdu, as the state language of Pakistan. Only 3% people used to speak in Urdu. 56% used to speak in Bengali, the mother tongue of East Pakistan. But they ignored it. What they did, Bangladeshi leaders wanted that Bengali should be one of the state languages of Pakistan. But Pakistani government did not like it. So the process continued, and in the process, we lived with Pakistan for 24 years. But out of 24 years, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib was in jail for around 14 years. He spent his entire youth in the jail for achieving the cause of the people. And in the long run, he was successful. By 1971, by that time, the Pakistani government put him in jail, but the government could not keep him in the jail because it's the people who brought him out of the jail, because there was whole country was paralyzed by general public. And so President Ayub Khan has to release him from the jail and withdraw all the cases, the false cases against him. And then he became Bangabandhu, friend of Bengalis or Bangladesh. And afterwards, you see, the new government of Pakistan, the military government of Pakistan, gave the first election on the basis of adult franchise throughout Pakistan, both East and West Pakistan. And that election, Sheikh Mujib, his party, got the majority votes. In East Pakistan, out of 169 parliamentary seats, he got 167 of them. So naturally, he should form the government. But military junta did not allow it. They denied him the power. So the Bengalis, en masse, everyone, all the Bengalis stood up against him, and they demanded independence of Bangladesh. And our father of the nation made a clarion call. Bengalis were not a fighting martial race, but because of this spirit he created among the Bengalis, we fought for 9 months, 10 days, and afterwards we got our independence. This is how Bangabandhu is the father of the nation. Anyway, so he wanted peace because he has seen that wherever there is violence, people die. Even during the independence, of both Pakistan and India, there has been riots. People die for no reason. So he always wanted peace. And no wonder Bangladesh believes in peace and stability. Until today, I also advocated for peace, and we can achieve peace. If we work hard with sincerity, I have a hope that one day we'll achieve peace. And let us keep our hope alive. Thank you.
Excellency, there's also another question that you haven't responded. There's another question that you haven't responded about Bangladesh position in the OIC to fight against Islamophobia and extremism in the 21st century.
Like any Islamophobia, any xenophobia, these creates a venom of hatred, and we must stop it. Young men like you all should start a campaign to stop Islamophobia, stop all sorts of xenophobia. And if we can do it, we can create a mindset of respect for others. And all these phobia comes from a twisted mindset, and we must change the twisted mindset. Bangladesh is against this, all sorts of phobia, Islamophobia, xenophobia, name it. We don't want any of these. And especially, there is a tendency among many, even the opinion builders, to come up with these, Islamophobia. And I think it is time for us to fight against it, stop it. And we don't stop by, fighting in the field. We stop it by giving, knowledge to them, imparting knowledge and, sense of ethnic and moral values. If we do it, it will go away. Hopefully it will go away. We don't want to achieve only by, fighting means not necessarily fight with a gun. We fight with knowledge. We fight with, if they have a question, we answer it. And in the process, hopefully, not all will change, but majority hopefully will change.
All right, thank you so much for your response. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of our special edition talk. On behalf of ICYF, we would like to thank the Excellency for this enriching discussion and very fruitful question and answer session. And that allows the participants to have a good grasp on this important topic today. If you have time. Okay, let me open to the floor member for yes, the gentleman over there. Please, the floor is yours. W-
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm from Benin. My name is Isaka Soja Abdul, and we are very honored to have you, His Excellency. My question is, what is your perspective of COVID-19 on the impact of the government between the relation of the government and his populations and his populations, local populations. Yeah. Can I say it again? What is the impact of COVID-19 on the population, on the relation of between government and his population? Thank you very much.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know, understand this question very well. The relationship with government and the people. Okay. Okay. Of course, COVID has a very big impact in the lifestyle of human beings from the population. In my own country, I can say our people don't like to be locked down. They don't enjoy curfew. But unfortunately, when COVID came to Bangladesh, we have to lock down our towns and cities and workplaces for almost 68 days. 68 days. And it was really very painful for us. And you see, we were very worried for a number of things. Because at the time, some of the international media started coming up with stories. And they said, and these are, known international media, there's 5 to 10 million people of Bangladesh will die due to COVID. So the government, I being a part of government, we were worried. These are bad signals for us. And some of our media started, flourishing those stories. Anyway, so when COVID came, initially we have difficulties to arrange ICU units, difficulties to make testing centers. We had only one testing center in the country for 165 million people. So we had to make new testing centers. That's not easy. It's a pretty lengthy process. But we made around 80 plus testing centers within a short time. Then the question was the medical equipment, PPEs, the sanitizers, so many things. There was shortage of it and not available, ventilators particularly, not available. So you had to make many calls to many governments to supply us those things. Luckily, we are very lucky that our government, which is our major exportables, many government owners started making PPEs. We made plenty of them. We meet our needs. After meeting our needs, we help our neighbors, many Muslim countries, and all our neighbors. We send them those medical equipment. We also exported 6.5 million quality PPEs to USA market. So we did well. Now, your question is that how people took it. In my society, we come up with new medical advice. They must put mask, We ask them not to maintain distancing. Our people were not used to it. So many people didn't ignore the government regulations. It was not easy. But in spite of that, as I said, our death rate, fatality is very low. Only 4,700 for a population of 165 million. The major issue to us later on was that we don't want a single individual die of starvation. So what we did, our Prime Minister instructed us that we must provide essential food items to every household. Every household. And we did it in an excellent way, very efficient, effective way. We went door to door because there are many people who are relatively wealthy. They don't ask for help. But we have to identify them and also provide them the essential food. 68 days, they're locked down. Stores are closed. The guy who works in the street has no work. So and the government also provided, cash money to around 5 million families. So in the process, we kept the market, the effective demand in the market going. Countries doing well. Initially, we had a lot of fear. One is that our export item, many of the retailers, the brand name retailers, they stopped, even they canceled their, the standing orders, amounting to around $3 billion. So naturally, we are afraid that those garment, the 4.4 million garment workers, mostly female, they will lose their job. So what Prime Minister did, she came up with a big grant and said that don't terminate them. Instead, even if you want, give them the subsistence, 60% of their wages, but still keep them in the work. And we did. And the other thing was, many of our friendly countries, our 12.3 million people works abroad in many friendly countries. Those friendly countries were so afraid of COVID. They wanted to send all the Bangladeshi workers back home. We were afraid how to manage so many at one time. So we discussed with them, we had dialogue with them, and they're very nice. My hats off to them, all the friendly countries, mostly in the Middle East. They agreed with us that we cannot handle all. We'll take all of them back, but phase-wise. So by now we have got not 2 million, but instead we got 100,000 of them. So in the process, we stabilize ourselves. And also made sure the our people who are working abroad and those who would be out of job, we provided food to them even in abroad, because that was the instruction of Prime Minister. No one should die. So in our country, the government and the people are very close. We allowed our people, we have certain restrictions, but we made sure that none is deprived of food, and also allowed, we have the COVID test free. Only rich people may have to pay some money, but generally public is free. We want no one should be left behind in the process of, So in our country we did well, thanks God that He helped us, and therefore our, the fatality is relatively very low. These 5 million, 10 million is way out of our, we didn't, those are now looks like it's totally false. We have only less than 5,000 people died in a country of 165 million people. So you can see, and it's also not because only our effort, it's also because of, the Almighty. He helped us. Many of our people who are very poor, their nutrition intake is low, yet they did not die. They have the resilience, and thanks God that we more or less overcome this problem.
So much.
Good job. You see, the Benin is a country where the Western powers used to take all the slaves. And I have visited those places, and I felt so bad. But thanks God, that is over.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Shall we continue with another question? Yes, we shall take from the lady over there. Can you introduce yourself, where you're from, what are you doing in Istanbul?
Okay, yeah. First of all, my name is Ratu. I'm from Indonesia. Thank you so much for your speech. Yeah, I'm from Indonesia. It is quite amazing since this is your insightful explanation. In this unprecedented situation, we have noticed that China is emerging power in this global politics. And we have noticed that USA is currently declining its power. So my question is, how does this relation affect the international system in general? And my second question is that you mentioned about global warming and also how we combat the climate change. And we noticed that the reason why we actually have this problem is because we are in the era of capitalism, right? Where companies are actually extracting and exploiting the natural resources. So my question is it possible to actually find a solution in the sense of capitalism, or do we need to actually try for another system in economic sense? Thank you so much for.
First question was
Yeah.
the relationship with China and USA.
And how does it affect international?
Okay, and how that is going to affect the world?
Yeah.
All right. That's a tough question. I don't know. You see, I don't know. China is a growing economy, and US is trying to, keep up its leadership role. But these two powers, they come up. USA, US's strength is not in the weapons. Although apparently it looks like they have so many weapons, so they are very strong. But I consider the strength of USA is in their fair judicial system, in their fair, and also in their openness. USA have been, an attraction for many people across the globe because they would think that they will get fairness and justice in USA. That's why USA is so attractive. It's not because of other. They think that USA is a place where they, give respect to humanity. But of late, the government in USA, they are becoming very narrow-minded, narrowly focused. In the process, I don't know. The strength of USA is the immigrants. USA is a country of immigrants. And there has been so many innovations, so many creativities. It's because people all across the globe flock to USA. I often call immigrants don't go for job, they create job. Wherever there are lots of immigrants, you'll find there are new jobs have been created because they are highly motivated, they are innovative. Now currently what is happening in the USA, those doors are getting closed. So I'm afraid the innovation, the creativity that USA has been enjoying for years, they might be weakened. The process has started. And on the other side, China is a growing economy. And of late, their production facilities are relatively better. But what would be ultimate goal, I don't know, because China's growth is basically export-oriented growth, because they could sell their products at a lower price to many countries. In the process, they developed their economy pretty well. But if their export possibilities for one reason or other goes down, then I don't know what will happen. So the best thing for the world would be a compromise between these giants. And eventually this is going to happen because both are powerful. So unless there is a compromise, I don't know. Countries like us, many countries which are smaller, we are in a very bad shape. You see, because we may be pursued by one or the other to move around. And Bangladesh is in a good shape in spite of all difficulties. Because our father of the nation, he stood for one and he said Bangladesh should maintain a non-aligned, non-partisan foreign policy. Till today, we are following that. We don't get into any bloc. And so we maintain our independence and maintain our, the non-partisanship. In the process, on principle, these are on the basis of principle. And as a result, so far, we are doing well. Our Prime Minister is also completely resolved in maintaining non-partisanship. So in the process, we are out of this, tug-of-war. But we are being pursued by one or the other. We are in a bad shape, but thanks God, so far we are okay. Your other one, that's the question you had, or you had a sub-question. First is the Sino-USA tug-of-war, right? And the other one was what?
Climate change and capitalism.
Kind of climate change and capitalism. I don't know how do I relate it, but you see, whether it is capitalism or command system does not matter. In the abuse of resources, both are equally great. Look at USA is one of the worst, country in terms of climate. They have really messed up, and therefore we have this global warming. So USA, a capitalist society, has been attributed for harming the global climate. Look at China, another country. It's a command system, not a capitalist country, but yet they are also responsible in contributing in the global. These are the two big countries which contributed maximum to the global warming. So capitalism, command system, I don't know which goes well. You see, it's only thing goes well, I mean, would be that we must stop abuse of resources. And that you and me together can stop it. You see, we can stop. Anybody abusing resources, we should notice it and tell them. And we stop buying their product. If we start buying their product, they cannot they cannot abuse abuse the planet Earth. It is time for us to save this planet. There is no alternative to it. Whichever you will save, I don't know. But we have to take every action, small or big, even number of individual. We must not, throw these things on the streets, because that I will not be doing my personal responsibility. It is time also, while you do the community responsibility, national responsibility, same time, we should also be inspired to have our personal responsibility in saving the planet. Little drops of water makes the mighty ocean. Little grains of sand makes the very beautiful art. So if we do little things, it will help us in the long run. Thank you.
Your Excellency, once again, I would like to remind you that we have come to an end of our session. On behalf of ICYF, we would like to thank the Excellency for this enriching and wonderful discussion this evening. And I hope the participants and everyone learn a lot from this discussion. And just so you know, that all the questions that I asked before came from our participants who are watching online, and we just act as the conveyor, as the mediator. I would also like to express our gratitude to all of you for your time and participation online or physically here, for your participation in our program today. Hope to see you again soon. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned to our next program. There's many, many programs coming over that you might be interested. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.